Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
You're listening to an Anazao Ministries podcast. Are all our narratives predetermined? Does the God of Mischief hold our stories together? Or do we control our own narratives? Today we're going to be comparing Loki Season 2 with Doctor Who episode, The Story in the Engine from the newest season. We're going to be doing our best to explain these IPs for listeners who aren't like fully caught up. So like, if this seems overwhelming, you're like, I don't even know what Doctor Who's about, time travel. Or if you're like, Loki, I don't know. Well, hey, we're going to do our best to explain it, to catch up. So we think this episode's going to be worth everyone's time because the messages and questions that these stories are suggesting are worth it. It's going to be a good, fun ride. I am Joshua Noel. My job is to introduce other people, including Reverend J. Coleman. Justin Coleman, how's it going, man? Good to have you, Justin. All right, and we are also here with the one and only Alex Matthews, who is the Loki avatar on the logo. So, like, as far as like expertise and whatever, like you can't get more expertise than being Loki on a picture that your friend made for you. It's fine. So, of course, as always, we're going to start off just with what everyone's geeking out on recently. Man, for me, it's been Fallout. And I've had one of those, like, I don't know how to explain this. I had like a lot of anxiety about starting the game because like I've been wanting to play these games for so long and I've been putting it off for so long. And I finally got the game because I was on sale on Steam. And for some reason, it just took me a long time to hit the play button because I'm like, I've been waiting so long. And now I have anxiety about it. But so far, great ride. Starting with Fallout New Vegas, because I asked my friends Christian and TJ if I only played one, which one should it be? And that's what they said. And I trust them. Justin, what have you been geeking out on lately, man?
Yeah, so lately there have been a couple of different shows. I spent the entire month of July on a prayer retreat, not watching any TV, anything like that. And so I just had this, like, I got to catch up on some stuff. So I watched the latest season of Foundation, which was pretty
What's
interesting. That? If y'all have not caught that sci-fi show. And then also the latest season of Murderbot.
Nice.
Both seasons of those two shows wildly entertaining.
Have you seen the new season of Star Trek? My brain's
yes. I should also say I did do some strange new worlds. Yeah, it was a really interesting season. A little bit more zany than previous, but yeah, I was down with it. It was good.
Yeah. Me, you, and Christian need to get together and do thoughts now that I think that was the last season, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so we got to reflect on the series there. Alex, what about you? What have you been geeking out on?
I have been geeking out on Thunderbolt. I recently watched that movie. I thought I wasn't going to like it, but it's actually pretty good. And my favorite character is Sentry. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I know a lot of people really like it. I had the opposite experience of you. I expected to really like it, and I really disliked that movie. But I know why most people do like it, and I appreciate that. And I'm glad that it's bringing people joy.
Where you start from really makes a difference, I think. I started pretty low, and I was like, gotta watch it. But I moved toward Alex there as the movie progressed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do think, your expectations going in make a big difference. And, also your look on retribution. I don't know the terms. I don't like when people aren't held accountable for their actions. That's all. But we can move on.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to see another Marvel movie, Captain America, it's funny because most people don't like that one and like Thunderbolts, and I'm the opposite. But Captain America, the bad guy, was held accountable for his actions, and I like that better. So
you don't like Captain America?
The Brave New World, the new one.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I love it, but a lot of people don't. Expectations. Go in expecting to hate it.
Okay.
That might help.
I mean, that's kind of how I go in with most recent Marvel content.
Marvel movies.
Yeah. Ever since Endgame, to me, it's just, it's not the same. I don't know.
Some of my favorite Marvel movies have been post Endgame, though. But like, I do get it. Like, overall, the vibe, I know what you're talking about. But then, like, you have like Guardians 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. You got the new Captain America movie. You got some of the shows, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki. I'm just like, I don't know. Some of my favorite content in post Endgame. But as a whole, the vibe just isn't there. It's like, some pieces are good. But are you the sum of your parts? Whole new episode. No, just kidding. Oh man, just trucking along here though. If you guys are on a laptop, consider rating and reviewing our show on Podchaser or Good Pods. It's going to help our show gain recognition, make it easier to find in search engines like Google and stuff that people search things on. If you're on your phone, consider rating and reviewing or commenting on our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's going to prioritize the show in those apps' algorithms, which is where most people listen to podcasts. So it's a huge help. Takes a few seconds and $0. So we really appreciate it. It literally is like 3 buttons to leave that review. That's literally it. You don't even have to write a comment if you don't want to. Guys, also, we'd like to shout out our sponsors. So today we are shouting out Austin Nance. Austin, you rock. Thank you for supporting our show. If you guys want your own shout out, you too can support our show for $3 a month on like Patreon, Fourth Wall, something. It's in the description. It'll tell you how to support us if you want to. It's there. And now, let's get on to the main event. We are first and foremost, before we get into like the nuts and bolts of it, because like this is going to be a lot about narrative and the power of narrative, but we got to know what we're talking about first. So, what are y'all's relationships to these characters, this show, as far as like Loki, Doctor Who, Marvel, maybe sci-fi in general?
I've been a long-time fan of Doctor Who, from watching late at night on public broadcasting system or whatever it was on, classic Doctor Who. Became a fan of the Doctor. The Fourth Doctor was my favorite Doctor in those days. And then, so when the new iteration of Who came out, I was locked in, haven't missed a beat, even in some of our more challenging times. I've been there with the Who. But also, Loki really threw this, what we might call Marvel's golden age at a certain point here. These earlier movies really locked into that character, and have been really interested to see the progression of character across movies and television shows.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be honest. I never really like this. The episode you recommended to watch for this podcast, that's the only Doctor Who episode I've ever seen.
Nice.
Scandalous.
Yeah. So I don't really know much about Doctor Who. I did know there was more than 2 of them. But from that episode I've seen, I was like, oh wait, I could get into this. But then I'm like, wait, no, I got to start from the beginning. So because I got to start from like.
No.
Oh wow. Yeah. No.
So I don't know if I really want to commit to something like that.
It's
Josh said there's like 60 seasons or something.
It depends how you count.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not really sure if I want to do that to myself, but like I'm still thinking about one. know what I mean? Like, I'm so behind.
Yeah, I love One Piece, but it is daunting.
But yeah, that's that with Doctor Who. I think he's pretty cool though. Pretty cool.
Mhm.
Not sure if I want to get into all that, but that's like a
That's
big
fair.
can of worms.
That's it. We can't all geek out on everything, and that's why we have so many hosts. Because maybe 15 of us can cover most things.
Fact. Yeah, but Loki, he's always been one of my favorite Marvel characters. Like, even in the movies and things, I never saw him as like, I just thought of him as like the scorned little brother that never got the love and never got the attention. And he just wanted to shine, and he went sometimes the worst way about it. But I never, like, he is the villain, but like, I always kind of sympathize with him a little bit. I'm like, he just wanted to be loved deep down. Like, he has mommy issues. He just needs a therapist. He'll be okay.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, but in the Loki episodes, after the first season, I was kind of mad at him because I'm like, he could have went like a completely different way. And things would not have ended the way they did in season 1. Like, I was so upset. I'm like, what? I'm not gonna spoil it, but anyway. And then this second season, I liked it, but then the ending, I was like, so I don't know. Like, I have mixed feelings about the ending, but then I talked to my brother about it, and he was like, well, you gotta understand, he's also like, and I was like, okay, yeah, fair. I'm not gonna spoil the ending either, but I'm like, it could have been like, he could have done something else, and I don't know.
I mean, I think it's fine. I think to talk about what we're going to talk about, we pretty much have to spoil both things. So people need to know. If you plan on watching it, we're going to,
Okay, let me just spoil it. Season 1, I was mad that, what's her name? Cynthia? Sylvie.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't like her because...
Oh, so I love her.
Her killing was he remains bad idea. Like, I was so against that from the jump. Like, why? Like, don't do that. Because create a mess. And then second season found out, oh, no matter what they did, that was going to happen anyway. And then Loki was like, okay, well, I'm either faced with killing Sylvie, or I'm going to sit the big chair and hold all of time threads. I think we should just off Sylvie and call it a day, but and hold all threads. It's just boring. Like, just sit there.
No, I highly doubt that's the end of his story for some reason.
I don't think so either, because I don't know. My brother said that he plays a part in Doomsday, but I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't done any research about that.
Yeah, me neither.
So that's why I'm not fully into my opinions about the second season. I'm like, okay, if he comes back, then he's probably playing like a big part. He's literally holding all the time like a tree. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I love Loki. Still love him. Just, I just think sitting at the edge of time holding a big tree is just really boring. Watching your friends live their life.
Oh, that's funny.
I just think that's really boring, but okay.
That's fair.
Pop off, I guess.
That's fair. I mean, not to be contrarian, I love Sylvie. I think she was probably wrong to kill He Who Remains, but I also would have done it. So I'm like, I don't hold it against her. I would have done the same thing. Screw that guy. I get it. Like, I'm like, what do you mean you could control the timeline? Absolutely not. And then Loki kind of finding that like third option, using sacrifice so that like there isn't a sacred timeline. We all can have our own story. Like, I kind of like the poeticism. Ooh. Also the imagery of the trees. That was just a pretty picture. Really, like, it looked cool. It was
pretty.
Yeah. I don't know though. Like, Loki, I've never really been huge into. I've liked him, but he's never been like a favorite, if that makes sense. Because like growing up, when I read comics, even still when I read comics, I tend to stay away from like the gods and like Superman and like that stuff. I like the really grounded story, like Captain America, Daredevil, Spider-Man. So like Loki was there, and I was like, oh, he's cool. But I've spent my whole life reading Captain America comics, so I really care more about this guy. Like, so I feel like it just has to do with like my own history, kind of painting a bias watching the films. But like, as far as Doctor Who, I got into it. I can almost say exactly when. it was my first year of college. Pretty sure like 2010. Pretty sure 2010 or 2011. And what's crazy is I remember like the guy who was originally supposed to be my roommate and then didn't turn out to be my roommate. And then we became like best friends in college. He showed me like 2 episodes and they were like when the doctor fights Satan. And I'm like, that was really weird. Huh, that was cool. And then I was like, didn't think about it for like a year. And then out of nowhere, I was like, I kind of want to watch more of that show. And I picked up like after what we watched, I was like, I'm just going to go from there because there's no way I'm watching all of this. And had zero context for the fact that the doctor just dies and regenerates. And he died. I was like, what do you mean? I got so mad. And I think that's part of why I'm not a huge fan of Matt Smith, because I had no idea that David Tennant wasn't just always going to be the doctor. And I was like, who was this guy? I was livid. But then I got into it and I've talked about this on the show before. I got super hyper fixated on it, watched all the old stuff that I could get my hands on because, not all of it is available anymore. I have a couple DVDs that can't play on American DVD players. So I may or may not have my PlayStation set to think that I live in Britain so that I can watch it.
Wow.
I am super like, I love Doctor Who. It's great. My favorite is Tenet, 10, and then 14. And then the second Doctor probably after 10. Okay, anyway, I won't go through my rankings. I do that some other episode. But I also really do appreciate the Judy Gawa's take that we're going to be talking some about today. I think he was a fantastic 15th Doctor's. Definitely, he might make my top 5. I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but he might. I really like him. I thought he was great. Kind of sad we're only going to get the 2 seasons. Yeah. But now I'm spoiling things for Alex, and I feel bad. Sorry, my bad. I forgot what we were doing here. Anyway, so that's our history with the characters. What impact I'm gonna throw this one to Justin first. What impact do you think these stories of like the Doctor and Loki have had on our culture at large? Like these characters specifically, because they're kind of big.
Yeah, these are huge. I mean, you've got Doctor Who that has been going on since the 60s. I mean, it is in sci-fi certainly one of the most dominant iconic shows that are there. And what I love about Doctor Who is there's always this play with what is free will and what is determinism. How do those work together? And it's cool to be thinking about that now in a time when algorithms and systems, we wonder about like how much are these telling us who we are. So we've, that conversation was limited to the religious space for a while, for so long, and now we're asking questions about algorithms and systems shape, who we are, and Doctor Who having this insistence that imagination and story are bigger than an imposed script. I mean, that's one of the cool things there. Loki has grown culturally in part because of Tom Hiddleston's depiction of Loki.
He's a great actor and also a handsome man. I mean, that's
and so we began to love this character in a way that the character wasn't quite loved in the comics, I think, and so this was the God of Mischief that really, I think it was Marvel. Y'all have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall this, God of a story being a part of things until Marvel. But so Mischief, this God of Mischief who becomes a God of story, can hold a multiverse together. This whole idea of the multiverse and thinking about these kinds of possibilities has now become part of the common language. People will just say, well, the multiverse of possibility, blank. And so I think it's been interesting to see how, and I know that's a little bit beyond Loki, but how this whole idea of the multiverse has taken root in popular culture.
Yeah. Doing that thing where let me switch. Okay. No, I agree, and I'm really glad you brought up that whole determinism thing, because that's always been kind of prevalent in Doctor Who. You have like throughout some of the Matt Smith years, especially, there's that whole narrative of like fixed points in time.
Right.
Because like anytime you're telling a story, like it gets really difficult when you involve time, and all of a sudden the story's lasted so long because you have to be like, well, how do we explain him time traveling this long and stuff still working the same? So they have to develop narrative devices like that. Otherwise, things just don't make any sense at all. But it is interesting also to see Loki, the god of mischief, take this role where you're seeing him wanting chaos, him wanting mischief, and then being introduced to the TVA that's saying, no, there's only one timeline. And it makes a lot of sense to me that he would be the one that then sees, wait a minute, so you're not letting every possibility. There isn't chaos. There is a single story. So it makes sense the god of chaos would eventually be the one that says, no, not one story, every story.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, Christian here to talk about our YouTube page. That's where you can go find us at youtube.com/@systematicgeekology. We have exclusive stuff there, exclusive videos where you can just hear other topics that you'll never hear on the podcast proper. These include things like comic book catch up, where we're discussing the newest comics that we're reading, Friday Night Frights, where Joe Day and I explore a cryptozoological, paranormal, ufological item of discussion. Has a lot of good fun there. I have a lot of great times with him. We have spontaneous YouTube shorts that we decide to do a topic we wanted to discuss. They're in a very short form. We do them there as well. You can interact with us live as we're recording like a What's New episode or something like that. You have something you want to chime in? Well, how can you do it unless you head over to youtube.com/@systematicgeekology. All right, guys. See ya.
Well, since you brought up determinism, and before we get into it, because I feel like we're all going to have a little bit of a bias because you can't not have this growing, especially in a faith tradition of any sort. We're all going to have like kind of a tinted view on things. Alex and I grew up in a similar church. I'm going to throw this to Alex first because it's the same denomination. I'm now converted to Lutheranism. She is still part of a Pentecostal church, as far as I know. Okay, cool. How have you, just in your life, your experience with faith, wrestled with these questions of like determinism as opposed to free will? You know, because when you throw God in and he knows the future and created all things, and, you know, does he know the future? Does he not know the future? Did he let us have free will? Are we predestined? You got a lot of weird doctrines and stuff bouncing around. How have you wrestled with it?
Well, I'm still wrestling with it, to be honest.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, because I don't know, because on one hand you want to have free will, but let me just talk about me. On one hand, I want to have free will, but then in another hand, I don't know. It's because, man, like I wanted to have free will, right? I want to have free will, but also like the idea of like every choice I'm gonna make or anything that's gonna happen, like it's already like written out and set in stone. Like depending on the situation, they both could be comforting in a way, but like the situation being something that would work for me, you know, like kind of in a like in a selfish type of thing. Wait, what was the question again?
Just how you wrestle with all of this. You're doing
right.
Great. You're wrestling on air. You're just demonstrating.
Right. See, I'm currently
Look, literally right this second.
Right now. Right here, right now. I don't know. That's a hard question to answer because I don't know. I feel like everybody would want to have free will to do what they want, but at the same time, that also sounds like chaotic. Like, yeah, I get to do what I want, but I also don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. But then with everything like predetermined, predestination, all that, like it's not as chaotic. It's more orderly in a way, and it's like, okay, whatever happens was meant to happen. Yeah, I don't really know where else to go with that.
I mean, it can provide a level of comfort, and I definitely get that. So like, I feel like I grew up in, so the Pentecostal church we grew up in, is kind of strange. It's not like what I think most people think of when they think of Pentecostals. So like I grew up hearing kind of both sides of this a little bit, of like some preachers would kind of seem like they leaned into that whole like God knows everything. He's in control. Whatever happens, it's what God meant to happen. I'm very leaned into that. And then I would have other preachers in the same church that would be like, you have a choice. It's your choice. You can backslide. You can choose God. You can accept the Holy Spirit or not. And it was a lot. And I'm like, oh, which one? And I don't know. That for me, that was a long time. And ironically, what's helped me a lot is someone I don't fully agree with on on any of this. Dr. Tom Ord, the last few years, I've had him a lot of times on the Whole Church podcast, and we've argued with one another and friendly arguments, you know, church unity arguments. But he has this like God can't, and God can create on his own. God doesn't know the future. And he uses a lot of this stuff because he's trying to explain how an all-loving, powerful God could allow some of the stuff that happens in the world. If God predestined everything and knew all of future, and it's like, well, then when my dog got shot in the face, God knew that was going to happen, created everything, and just didn't do anything about it. And I'm like, I get where he's coming from. Like, I'm like, yeah, that it is really frustrating. And he develops this doctrine, this theology where he's basically, it's open and relational theology. And he kind of like proposes this version of God that's like, God wants to work with us and he doesn't know the future, but he wants the best for everyone. And eventually, you know, everyone will be saved kind of thing, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not Dr. Ord. I don't know all of his beliefs, but like part of the pushback I've had with him is like, I like a lot of what he's saying, but then I'm like, but if God didn't create everything out of nothing, then I have questions on how salvation is possible. You know what I mean? Like, if you weren't the one that created all of the things, why can't I just save myself? Why are we still dependent on this God? Why do I even need the God character then? You know what I mean? Like that. So, and that's where I push back on him a little bit, but I still take a lot from him where I go. So I think I probably fall more in this camp of like, I'm not sure the future exists. And if the future doesn't exist yet, God can't know the future. But I'm still wrestling with it too. Like, I don't know all the answers, but I do like a lot of those points because I'm like, I think it makes sense to me that we have to have choice. If we're going to say God is all loving, then I have to be able to choose him. I have to be able to choose my actions. And predeterminism kind of feels like I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So that's where like I still will pull some from that Ord, but I'm not completely there yet. Maybe one day he'll win me over, but right now, not yet. Right now, I'm still like, I don't know. This ex nihilo thing seems kind of important. But it's Justin, as the Reverend, give us the correct answer.
Well, I'm not going to give you the correct answer.
No, where have you wrestled with this in your own faith and growing into it?
Well, I'll say a couple things. One, just what you were talking about. There's a theological system made popular during a part of the 20th century, process theology. I think about theologians like Schubert Ogden, his book on theology that helped to popularize this. Process theology, in my view, was a way to respond to questions of theodicy. You know, why do bad things happen to good people kind of stuff. I will say theodicy is primarily an American theological position that you don't always see in other parts of the world. And so that I think that says a lot about us. But in the process theological system, God changes. So some of the omnis about God are just not so. And that theological system was of comfort to some who were really wrestling with how could God allow these kinds of things. So anyway, just take that for what you will. I mean, there could be some research done on that, but there is a theological system that plays with that, and I think, but it also seems like a very American theological system to me. So, but you know, as a Protestant, generally speaking, I would say that I've always lived in this tension between predestination and free will because that's what everybody wants to talk about. And Methodists, I'm United Methodist, and so Methodists tend to talk more about grace and our response to grace. I don't see life as a rigid script, but more as an unfolding drama where God is both author and the actor, and an actor in it. And so when I when I think about this scripturally, I think that you can see very Doctor Who elements in scripture, because there are moments that seem like fixed moments in time, and are almost narrated in that kind of way. But then there are very clearly some moments where the free will of those who are engaging with God in the moment actually helps to determine something of the outcome of the moment. And so maybe it's a blend.
Mhm.
I don't know what percentage to give, but maybe it's a blend. And honestly, I'm okay with that.
Ironically, Christian Ashley, who's probably the most conservative person on our show, is almost exactly the same stance as that. Because the Bible does a little bit of both. Okay, so since you brought up process, I'm going to touch on this and we'll move past. So all open and relational theologians will consider themselves process theologians, but not all process theologians will consider themselves open and relational. That makes sense. So it's like one of those like big little circle things.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, and I'm still working through a lot of this, but like Alfred Whitehead, that's my vibe. And he's known as like one of the big process people who started it. But really, for me, it's more the relational stuff that he explains, like as a mathematician and a scientist, where he kind of goes through this whole like, yeah, if you think about it, physically, all of your cells, you don't have the same cells as you did 6 years ago. Are you the same person? I'm like, well, I mean, yeah. But if we took all your memories and put it in somebody else, you don't have your memories anymore. Are you still the same person? So it's like, I'm not my memories. I'm not the pieces that make me. What am I? Which also, sorry, Will, coincidentally, is the same question that every single Kingdom Hearts game has asked since the beginning of Kingdom Hearts. And I think for me, the answer Kingdom Hearts gives and the answer Alfred Whitehead gives is what resonates the most with me. And it's going to come up later in the episode, I promise. But we're defined by relationship. I'm not all these little cells. I'm how they relate to one another so that the cells look like this on a camera, right? And the cells in my brain make me behave this way. And you know what I mean? Like my memories work together with my emotions. And you get this weirdo who talks about that one specific video game way too much, right? Like that's who I am. And likewise, I'm defined by my relationships to you guys, to other people, how I treat other people. And God is also defined by his relationships. The whole doctrine of the Trinity proves this. And then you get the stuff in the Bible when we go back to like what Justin was talking about with like, maybe it's a little bit of both and. You have where the Bible says God changed his mind. And the thing is, what happens is your conservative Christians read that and go, oh, that's not literal. And then your progressive Christians will be like, well, that's the literal part, not that other part that you guys are talking about with the predestination. And realistically, the Bible says both. The Bible says God changed his mind, and then it says God never changes. It says both things. And we just get to wrestle with that. And of course, the best way to wrestle with that is by having Alex explain to us Loki season 2.
Why?
What happens in Loki season 2, Alex?
Okay. Let me just warn everybody that I'm not the greatest at explaining things. I don't know why Josh is making me do this.
It's great. Because you are the Loki in the Avatar. This is like the role you were predestined for.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to try my best. All right. So, Loki 2 basically starts off where one immediately after he, because Sylvie pushes him through a time door and he ends up back at the TBA, but at a different time in the past where no one knew him yet. And then he's time slipping. So he's slipping between the past and the present where things are falling apart at the TBA because he who remains has perished. And because he's perished, he got other variants that are about to come and cause a bunch of chaos. And then the time loom is getting overloaded because he who remains dead, the branches are branching like at a really fast rate, too fast, too many branches showing up, and a time loop can't keep them all together. So the time loop is overloading, and the only thing they can do to fix it is they go outside the ramp thing. I forgot all the words. And
This is great. I love this.
Okay, Ouroboros, he wrote the guidebook, sort of. Was Timely also wrote the guidebook. Anyway, whatever. They both wrote it. Okay, and basically the time book explains that they need this thing, a converter thing that helps the time loop expand, so they could get more of the branches in there, so it won't overload. But they find out before they can fix it, they need He Who Remains essence to open the blast doors or whatever, because the blast doors had to be closed. Anyways, so they had to go back. Oh, Renslayer and Miss Minute. See, this is why.
This is great. It doesn't need to be an in-depth explanation.
Okay, basically they find Timely before, because Timely is the one who created the TVA, and this is before he committed like anything crazy. He's just discovering time, like he made the prototype of the time loom and whatever. He's an innocent man, and Sylvie catches on and tries to kill him. And she's like, actually, no, I'm not going to kill him. He didn't do anything. Like he started crying. He didn't start crying, but he was like, I haven't done anything wrong. Like I know my heart. And she's like, get him out of here. I'll take care of Renslayer. Honestly, she should have just done away with Renslayer right then and there, but she tried to push him through a stupid time door at the end of time to see the corpse, and then to find out that He Who Remains wiped all their memories. No one knows what happened. She figures out that she was there when everything happened. He wiped their memory. Like, I'm so bad. Like, still, like, ah. Anyway, point is, Loki time slipping. He figures out how to control time slipping, where he can literally like control time, kind of sort of like He Who Remains. So he has a conversation with He Who Remains towards the end of the series, and the guy's like, "Yeah, you can do anything you want, but this is gonna happen. Time loop's gonna overload. Everything's gonna fall apart. It's a fail-safe, all to protect the sacred timeline. Everything ends with a sacred timeline. No such thing as like branches, whatever." And then Loki's like, "Well, bet I'm gonna change that." And then what's his name? He Who Remains is like, "You could try, but I'll see you back here." And then so Loki tries like all kinds of ways, and then he's ended up with the choice of, okay, either I kill Sylvie or I let things be, and then we just come back and the time loop implodes, whatever. So instead he goes with a third option that no one saw coming, because I didn't. And he goes outside, transforms into his awesome Loki fit with the big old horns, and destroys the time loop, catches all the threads, walks up these invisible stairs, makes a rip in the space to the end of time where the broken throne is, sits down in the broken throne, puts all the threads together, and makes a tree, and he's there for the rest of eternity. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That is so. I couldn't have gotten close to that, Alex. So I'm so glad you were the one.
Yeah.
That was so hard.
I think. Okay. So for context, the tree is part of Norse mythology. Loki being the god of stories isn't. Yeah, but maybe he knew about the tree, and that's why he knew to do this. Who knows? Let's see. I think simplified for people who haven't seen season 1, basically, Loki, as well as a bunch of other things, if you do something like time travel and you create something that wasn't supposed to happen, then there's 2 branches of time. And where the TVA is this place that can see all of time. It's kind of like sitting outside looking at it like a stream, like an electric wire. And when something splits off, they just kind of like a plant go and just prune it. So there's just one timeline. Otherwise, it gets so chaotic, like things just kind of don't work. And then Loki, and then the girl version of Loki called Sylvie, and a bunch of other people were from these other branches and escaped before their timeline was destroyed. So then you have people who weren't supposed to exist in the main timeline, and that's what the TVA is kind of made of. And then everything that Alex said happens. So basically, since time isn't able to be controlled, someone has to be able to hold the stories together, or else there's the time loop or only one timeline. So Loki kind of makes that sacrifice as I'll be the one that holds everyone's stories together because he builds these relationships up through the seasons. And he's like, I'm not willing to see Sylvie's story end. I'm not willing to see Mobius's story end, anyone's story end. So you know what? I'm just going to hold all their stories. I'll be the character. And because he's a lowercase g God, he's able to do that basically because reasons accept it. Justin, different question. Yeah. Doctor Who, the story in the engine, a much shorter thing to explain. How would you summarize this one?
I'm so glad I've been given this one seriously. So we say a couple things. One little bit of prologue to the story in the engine, and that is in the most recent iteration of Doctor Who, the last Doctor. We do find storytelling, the power of the stories that are told, and the power behind the stories that are told is a little bit of a through line across the series with our most recent Doctor. So it's sad again that we will only have these a couple seasons, but the story in the engine was one of the most beautiful homages to the culture around the Black barbershop that I have ever seen in film. It was beautifully done because I just grew up in barbershops where you hung out all day. You must commend the day to it. The day before appointments and things like that, you just showed up and you camped out. And what did people do? They just told stories. And if you were there for long enough, you could listen to stories over time. They grew in power and majesty and flourish and hilarity. This is the beautiful thing about the barbershop. So here we have the Doctor coming in to a Nigerian barbershop, and that he's gone to before as in this iteration of the Doctor who is the first Black male to play the part. And so he talks about going there as a place of refuge, but there's a barber who is not the storyteller. And this storyteller believes that he's been controlling the whole narrative of human imagination. And so without the storyteller, human imagination collapses. But then you've got the Doctor, insisting that imagination is alive because it's shared, it belongs to everybody. But you learn across the episode that the storyteller has actually been the servant of the storytelling gods throughout time, and really has taken control of this web. So we've got a tree in Loki. We've got this web in Doctor Who, and so trying to take control of this, really, in some ways, to get revenge on these gods that he was once the servant of, but now he will be the master storyteller. And then, the Doctor does some work to undo this and free up this web. But that's essentially what happens in this. Did I do an okay job? I'm not as good as Alex with this, but I think that's covered the episode.
It was great. I honestly, and Doctor Who does this sometimes, right? Even like the ones that I love the most, sometimes I'm like, I'm still not 100% sure I understand what the Doctor did. He reversed the polarity. That's right.
The conclusion is less important than the journey there, often in Doctor Who.
Yeah, but I think one of the things I really love, and I haven't experienced it personally, but the Doctor portrays it so well that like you can kind of connect with his feelings. He talks about like how he goes here because he's treated differently now that he looks like a Black man, and he goes to this place because it's a place of safety, and he kind of gets betrayed. his friends were in danger and they knew that the doctor could save him. So they basically volunteered him as tribute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gets trapped. And it's one of those, like, for me, it's one of the moments where the doctor shines. Like, this is like the kind of doctor moment that I love the most, where he says, not only am I going to forgive my friends because they betrayed me because I understand they were scared. And yeah, you know what? I'm still a little bit mad about it, but I'm going to forgive them. Not only that, I'm going to forgive the storyteller because I understand why he's seeking revenge. I understand why he's a bad guy. And instead of just punching him, you know, like beating him up superhero style, he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell him what's even more powerful than what he thinks he's doing. Controlling the stories, he thinks that's powerful, but guess what? Creating your own narrative is more powerful. I have a story in 6 words that happens to sound like Jesus's. I live, I die, I live. It's like, and everybody has a 6-word story. And I'm like, oh gosh. Sometimes the doctor just says stuff and I'm like, well, yeah. It's like, I don't need to know how you defeated the spider of time. But man, that speech, that did it for me.
So true. And also, I mean, you know, just say that what a powerful commentary on our times when institutions that we love sometimes fail us, and how do we respond to that failure and that betrayal. So good.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, from what you're describing of like why barbershops are so powerful is like the sharing of imagination, and all the stories get wild and out as you spend the whole day there. I'm like, man, it actually makes a lot of sense. The doctor was sharing in the story. He was sharing in their betrayal of him, and he changed the narrative by sharing in the narrative. And I think that's kind of what Jesus did, right? Like he shared in our humanity so that he can change the story of humanity. And that's what we are all called to do a little bit. Man, I'm sorry, I'm getting preachy, but like we're all called a little bit, right? To like, if we're defined by our relationships, man, as soon as I made friends with Alex, I now have a choice of how I treat our relationship. Because that's what, if I'm defined by our relationship, she's also defined by this relationship. If I betray her, that's now part of her story. And we have to find a way. How do we want to work that story together? Do we want to work it for good, work it for evil? Does it matter if you do something evil to me? Do I want to turn evil back? Because guess what? It's not tit for tat. It's a shared story. And I can either perpetuate the betrayal that for some reason I'm saying Alex betrayed me. or yeah, let's go back to the other way. She could either perpetuate the betrayal if I betrayed her, or she could say, you know what? I see that you betrayed me, but I'm going to forgive you, and change that narrative, that shared story that we have, to something better.
See, right there. See, that was a good sermon. We need to.
I'm sorry.
We need to pass the plate. So we usually do this at the end, but for all of our supporters.
Oh man. Oh gosh, that's funny. But okay, sorry. Sermon to the side. Doctor Who will do that to you, I promise. Wait, how would you rate and review each of these? The Doctor Who Story in the Engine, Loki season 2. If you had to put like a 0 to 10 on it, Alex, what are you doing for each of these?
Okay. Well, for Doctor Who, I would say 9 out of 10, because I appreciated like nods to like African Black culture and all that, and like how stories, like we have a choice of like how they go with our lives and things. So yeah, that was good. Loki season 2, I don't know. I would say maybe a 7 out of 10.
Okay, all right. What's funny? Wow. I'm splitting the difference, and I'm pretty close to you on both. I'm giving both an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I thought they were both great. Weirdly enough, I like Doctor Who's message better, but I think the narrative wasn't as good, because I think they did kind of get stuck in that. We're not sure this makes sense. Doctor has cool speech. Stuff happens. Like I do think they kind of lost the plot a little bit. But the message was great. The characters were great. The placing was good. Like everything else was great. I do feel like they lost the beat a little bit at the plot. Loki, on the other hand, I don't like the message as much. Characters are great. The story, perfect sense. Loki being the god of chaos that then's going to hold all of our stories together so that everyone can live their own possible, choices and have free will. I'm like, chaos, free will. Like I don't know, man. There's a lot of symmetry here, and I feel like it kind of had a really well-rounded ending, very poetic. and that tree looked really cool.
Yeah.
But the message at the end where my problem is still kind of this. No, I don't think one person has to hold the stories together. I think rather we share in the stories together. And that's where I'm like, it's not quite what I want with the message. And maybe I'm being nitpicky, but it's fine. Justin, where are you at?
Yeah, no, it's really tough one because we're got a whole season and one episode. It's really tough to compare. But just to say, on Doctor Who, I'm with you on the like. So how did it end? Really, I'm kind of fuzzy on the landing of the plane. I know it landed. I know there were survivors. I'm really. It was a little bit of a blur there for a moment, but I'd give it a 9 if it were just talking about braiding hair and creating routes to freedom mapped through there, like that whole. I was like, y'all are doing stuff in this episode. You're fitting a lot in, so I'm with Alex on it. I love the celebration of blackness that was a part of that, and Josh, as you say, this whole commentary about the forgiveness and what that does to our stories and the healing stories. That was good. That was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
you got to take off a percentage point because I still I'm like, so you asked me what happened to the web and the spider. I'm like, stuff. It's all okay. It's all okay. That's all I can stuff. But if I were to, rather than compressing Loki, if I were just to take last, episode and just think about it from that point of view, I do think there was something powerful about the sacrifice. The willingness to offer himself up and to hold the stories, support the stories, to support the stories of others in a way. I thought that was lovely in its own way. So really, I think my numbers are very similar to Alex's. I'm gonna give Loki season 2 as a whole a 7 or an 8.
All right. I like it. So doing the comparison bits, and I know we've already talked a lot about some of this stuff because we just can't help but get ahead of ourselves. But I think the easiest place to start are kind of the antagonist. So he who remains, who's also known as King the Conqueror, for those wondering, his kind of his driving force is this kind of idea of like, there is one timeline. If we don't have it all, there's either a time loop or it gets so crazy that nothing can exist and time will just kind of unfold on itself. So he's decided to take it upon himself to control which narrative will be the only narrative so that doesn't happen. So he's given himself all this control. And the storyteller, the barber in the Doctor Who episode, his is more, it's similar, but it's because he keeps being the one that's telling the stories. And he's like, well, none of these people would have stories. None of this stuff would happen if it wasn't for me. And I didn't get credit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm now going to be the one controlling all of the stories. So he's not trying to limit the timeline as much as he's trying to gain power by controlling everyone's stories and kind of collecting them as if they're his own. And in a way, a little bit of appropriating, right? He's trying to take the stories and claim them as his own. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. That's kind of something that we do a lot. Maybe it's not great.
Hey guys, Christian here. Have you ever wondered how you can support systematic ecology? Well, we've made it a lot easier for you by going to Fourth Wall. Instead of what we've done in the past, Fourth Wall makes everything very easy for everyone involved. Everything is in the same spot. So if you want to find a way to become a member and get access to our exclusive memberships and all the giveaways that we're going to be doing, Fourth Wall is the way to go. As well, if you want to see all the extra episodes and content that we only put to our members, that's the best way to go. Feel free to rate and review us there. You can also leave a donation or tip if that's something you're interested in. And as well, you can help support our All Reading Counts initiative that we do. All the donations that go to that go to our libraries. You also, if you really want to, it's like, man, I really want to hear more episodes about Christian for some reason. Or even for reasons I don't understand, you want to hear Joshua more often. We have episodes listed by host. And you can see everyone there. If you have a favorite host, head that way and support the episodes that they're on. You also find a link to our YouTube page. And we may be adding some special content beyond what we've promised. Everything that was once in multiple different locations and you didn't know where to go, well, it's all in that one convenient place. If you want to know exactly where to go, the link to this will be in the description below.
Anyway, comparing these two and their motives, how do you think they might be similar or different? I'll throw it to Justin first because I feel like it's a hard question, and it'll give me and Alex time to think.
I will ramble long enough for you to come up with an answer. That's what he just said. That's fine.
I believe in you.
I know the part I play in this story. So he who remains. I don't know. We've got this kind of like this need to control. And that is just his justification for existing is that like there's a necessity in control, and the storyteller, I think, really it's just about his power is a demand for recognition. Josh, as you were talking a moment ago, I just thought, wow, this is like talk about a underappreciated ghostwriter who just decides to take over. It's like a publishing nightmare. The ghostwriters, rise up against everybody. But both seem to be rooted in control and rooted in ego. I mean, different shades of it. But I would say that's the similarity, control and ego between those two.
Yeah. I think I agree. Can that be my whole amen, preacher? Alex, did you want to add anything? I really do feel like you said it really well, so I'm like, I'll let you guys do this.
I mean, yeah. I agree. Like their common ground is control. They want to control the way stories are told, the way the way stories are told. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think the motives behind it are different. Kang the Conqueror, he wants to control time and stories because he wants to protect everything from his other selves. Whereas the barber, he just wants to destroy everything because he's mad and angry and hurt. Which understandably so. I'll be mad too if I didn't get my credit. Especially for doing what he did, telling all the stories of all the lowercase gods stuff. Like, come on now.
What's funny is he even says that Loki is one of the gods.
Right,
I love that. That little bit. I'm like, this is great.
Like, perfect.
Yeah. No, I agree. It is interesting. Kang does seem to have more of like a almost cosmic perspective, whereas the storyteller, as he calls himself, is kind of just so focused on like basically getting the credit that he never got. That like I don't know, it's like his is so limited, like that he's became corrupted from his limited perspective of only himself and not seeing how he's affected by other relationships. Whereas King, it almost took too broad of a perspective. He couldn't see how it's affecting individuals because he's only caring about the whole. And it's difficult to kind of find that balance.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think in the storyteller, what you also see, I mean, I should say something a little bit. I don't know if this is redeeming, but just for empathies, for the sake of empathy, this is also. So lots of stories of blackness were told in this episode, and that is another story. Blackness, the supporting of stories, maybe even being the lead author of stories, but then still someone else receiving the credit, having so many of our stories muted across time. We get them. We get a month for some stories to be told, but only the stories some people want to tell. Like there is again, I think part of what's powerful in that episode is from a variety of perspectives, you're getting stories of blackness, both in the celebration we've spoken of, also in the pain that the storyteller represents. So yeah, I think that's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, we did an episode on the Whole Church podcast about Bass Reeves, who is who the Lone Ranger is based off of. Actually, a black man. And the reason, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who wrote it. He's a friend of mine. I should know this. But the book is how the West was whitewashed. And like you actually kind of see how so much of like our old Western stories are actually for Mexican and black culture that we were just like, nope, white guys did that. And it's like, nope, that's actually just not true. So CT Kirk, How the West Was Whitewashed. It's a small book, but man, it's really cool. But that's exactly kind of what this is based off of, right? Like these are what the stories are, but other people are trying to claim the stories. And he's like, I was there. I actually wrote the story. It was me. So yeah, I get it. But so it's not just about the antagonist, right? Like we do kind of see how the Doctor and Loki kind of react to their antagonist and to what happens. And you get two very different conclusions. We've talked about this, but I kind of want to just get out there how we feel about both. Where Loki says, I'm going to hold all stories together so everybody can live their narrative. And the Doctor says, I'm going to cut everything loose again, so that everybody can live their narrative. How do we feel those responses are different? And which one's correct, Justin? Oh, no, Alex, do you want to go first since Justin went first last time?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Remind me what the question was again. So I can stay on track. You know?
Man, I did such a build up and now I forgot. Basically, the question is just for Loki, he decided to hold all the stories together so that we all can live our own narrative. The Doctor is like, cut it all loose so everybody can live their own narrative. Comparing these, how do we feel about how our protagonist responded and which one's correct? Give a solid answer.
Okay. Don't know how solid this answer is gonna be, but I think they both responded opposite of how they would. Okay, walk with me.
Okay.
Like Loki, god of chaos, destruction. If he decides, let me just hold everything together and preserve everything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The barber tells the stories, keeps things going, so that culture, humanity build up on the stories. At the end, he wants to tear it all down. I just think they both responded very opposite of what they were.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I'm mad at Loki. I'm like, you're not going to do that. But anyway.
I get that. Okay. All right. All right, Justin.
Yeah, I'm sitting here just like pondering through. Okay, so I think that we have two different responses to the authoritarianism that we see from our antagonist. And, because we've spoken about the sacrifice and then the, liberation, sacrifice of Loki for others, and the Doctor, liberating imagination. So yeah, I mean, you've got they both critique authoritarianism and respond to authoritarianism in different ways. Relational, one a creative response. I don't know if showing forgiveness as another way to respond. So how I feel about them, I felt warm and fuzzy about them in different ways when I was watching it. I was moved by. I'm always moved by this sacrifice from others. I mean, that we see that no greater love, right, than to lay one's life down for one's friends, and so you see that and echoes of that in that sacrifice of Loki. But but we also see the power of forgiveness to break the constraints of our reality and free up new possibilities. And we saw that in Doctor Who. So yeah, I got some positive feels about them, but just in different ways.
Yeah. I might do a both and, like what Justin did earlier too. Cause like, okay, so hang with me. I don't think it's true of He Who Remains / King the Conqueror. I'm not convinced he was motivated by a relationship, but I might just not remember the story very well. But if you look at Loki, why did he decide to make the sacrifice in the end? It's because like for 2 seasons of the show, he's been building these relationships with different people, and he sees their story and he doesn't want the story to end. So what's he do? He holds their stories together and he makes that sacrifice. And like, it makes me think of like all the scriptures where it's like God has the whole world in his hands, and that fun little song, right? And how he's holding us and how God knows what's going to happen and he's got us basically. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of scripture there. I get it. Like God wants a relationship with us. So what's he going to do? He's going to hold our lives together so that we do have a choice. Okay. And then like the doctor, it's this whole like, yeah, I so much have these other relationships. Well, so first the barber, the storyteller, his lack of relationship is what I think drove him. Is none of these God people who he's been writing their story, none of them kept their relationship with him. What they do, they took the credit and kind of cast him aside. So I think the lack of relationship is what motivated him. And then the doctor's like, all of these stories, all these people he's met, all of humanity, his friend Belinda, the people in the barbershop. He's like, all of these stories important. All of them matter. It reminds me, even though one of my least favorite doctors is Matt Smith, one of my favorite lines is from Matt Smith in A Christmas Carol. And the doctor is basically arguing with Ebenezer Scrooge, and this lady pulls out. He's like, who's that? And Scrooge is like, oh, nobody important. And then I was like, fascinating. In 800 years, I've not yet met a single person who doesn't matter. And I love that line. I'm like, yes, that's the doctor's motivation, right? He has 800,000, whatever, how many years of relationships. And he's like, no, every story matters so much. Not that he's going to sacrifice so much that he's going to cut everything loose so that he can keep these relationships and keep making relationships. And that's the heart of God. God created so that he could be in relationship. And that's where I think things are a little bit different. Like the doctor saves the day so that he can continue to be in a relationship. Loki makes the ultimate sacrifice because of the relationships he had. Whereas God, the God that I believe in, created so that he could be in relationship with us. So the creation came first, but the motivation being relationship. And that's what I think is so fascinating, because you see aspects of the divine in both stories of like, yeah, God is the one who's going to hold all of this together because he loves us so much. God is also the one that's going to cut everything loose and let us have free will because he wants genuine relationship with us. How do those things make sense together? I have no idea. And that's where Alex is going to share ultimate wisdom and tell us the answer. What's the answer?
To what?
Life, the universe, and everything.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. No, but like when we do put this in perspective of not just like cool little stuff, that stories that we like to watch, and when we think of like a God who created so that he could be in relationship with us, and I'll argue he also created out of relationship because of the Trinity. How does that idea of a God of relationship that we actually do believe in compare to how these heroes are interacting with the idea of relationship and narrative?
Why do I?
I mean, we can make the Reverend go.
Wait,
It's fun.
let it go. Reverend, you got this.
You know, all right. In conclusion, so Loki is about bearing burdens, holding branches, time, love. Josh was talking about these things before. Doctor is about freeing humanity to bear their own stories. Loki becomes another god. Loki becomes, or mythic figure, whatever, Atlas, holding up the world in a kind of a way, so that the so that things could flourish. There's a interesting burden that is there, a joyful burden that a burden that he chooses. But there's a kind of a burden there. The doctor is a more liberationist theology, operating in the doctor handing power back. And so both endings, challenge this, like, do I want control or do I trust God, that God made us co-creators of in some way in the story. So anyway, that's what those make me think about. I don't even know if I answered your question, but that's what I gotta say.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think my only holdup is, like, I like both. I want to believe both, but it is hard for me to wrap my brain around both. A God who cares so much that he wants to hold our story in his hand, like Loki is doing, and a God who loves us so much he wants to participate in relationship and in the stories, like the doctor does. It's like I kind of want to have both. Can the Father be one and the Son be the other?
Well, I mean, that's
and the Holy Spirit's what's holding them together.
This kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning. I mean, this is it is like, there are fixed moments in time, and then there are times that are up to our free will. But when we think about it, like, so again, I'm trusting that this God who created has also created free will. So all of this is functioning in accordance with God's intended creation and how God intended things to unfold. And so that there are anchored moments and that there is free will is, for me, feels like two things that sometimes oppose the system. But if, in my theology of creation, at least, God made both. And so both in God's mind and God's heart and God's imagination, this is all the way it's supposed to be.
Maybe I just need to, like, sit in my chair and hold the story of the God in one hand and the other God in the other hand.
I
Alex,
see what you did there.
we mentioned in the episode of Doctor Who, the story in the engine, the doctor makes this powerful statement. He says, everybody has their own story. And he talks about how your story in 6 words. And he says, for him, his story was, I live, I die, I live. And you talk about regenerating and how life is the important part of his story, I think, and accepting the fact that he's going to die and then live again. I want to know how, two questions in one. It's a 2-in-1 for everybody. What 6 words would you give Loki's story? And what 6 words would you give your own story? And if you think I'm being unfair, I can answer first.
Yeah, that's right. You've been doing this. Answer first this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I have 2 for myself, and I can't decide which one's more accurate. I fail. I keep learning still. The other one would be the joy of the Lord shines. And I'm just not sure which one's more accurate. So y'all pick. For Loki, if I was going to give Loki 6 words, he was adopted, then adopted us.
Ooh.
I think that's where I'm going. 6 words is hard. All right, Alex, now you can go.
Can't count.
That's what I was trying to do too. I was like,
haikus on this.
Solid.
Like, it's like, I gotta give him a number.
Okay, so 6 words for me.
I kind of feel bad for the.
Okay, 6 words for me. I had to make sure it was right. Okay, I knocked down. I try again. Didn't make it that far with Loki yet. Second lap, I got you.
All right, Justin.
Yeah.
Buy her some time.
Okay, first a question. First a question. What was Loki's, the classic Loki's, like, No, not even classic Loki. What's like glorious what? What is glorious?
Purpose. Glorious purpose. Burden with glorious purpose.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I need to take out a word.
Sorry, I made this so hard.
Once villain, now burdened. No, I got too many words. I got too many words in there. Once villain, put whatever kind of punctuation you need, since I had to reduce words that need to be in the middle. Burdened with glorious love.
Ooh, I like it. I feel like that buys a seventh word. So now we can have now burden.
Yeah. Now was in there. Like I had one.
You got like seven better anyways.
Glorious love. Too many words. I had to just. So that's for Loki. Mine, I'm going to try to bowl down the middle for Wesleyan stuff, just in case any
that's hard.
Methodists are listening in. Grace found me, love sustained.
Ooh,
that's really good. That's great.
Reverend.
That's great. Yeah. He earned the Reverend live. This is
I get
proof.
to keep my Master of Divinity for one more year. I don't know.
Oh, man. All right, Alex, bring us home. 6 words for Loki from Loki herself.
Right. Okay. Hurt and lost, healed and found.
Ooh. Yeah, 6 words is fun, guys. listeners, if you're commenting on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or if you're in like our Facebook group or something, I want to hear everybody's 6 words, because this was a lot of fun, actually.
Hard.
Yeah. It's hard, and we want you to go through it. All right. Well, with that, then let's go ahead and bring this one to our wrap. We have a bonus question, and I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what? The bonus question is great. If the Doctor walked into the TVA the way that it exists after Loki's sacrifice, how might he react to it? There we go. It'll be a fun one. But if you want that, you gotta wait. You gotta wait till after the episode and then go to the Patreon or Fourth Wall or something. For now, though, we got to give recommendations before we wrap this one up. And my recommendation, if you haven't been on a jet ski, Mobius is right. Listen, Will says everybody geeks out on something. Will talks about how like he had someone in his congregation who really geeked out on stoplights. You can't tell me Mobius isn't a geek for water jets. I think we should all try it. I think you might be onto something. That's my recommendation. All right, Alex, any recommendations for
recommendation?
You can just say water jet.
I don't know. Mine's kind of boring compared to water jets. I would say books. Read a fun.
Read How the West Was Whitewashed by C.T. Kirk. Justin.
Yeah. That is it. Rick, I don't know what kind of recommendations I have. I recommend that that the next episode of Doctor Who that Alex watches on Alex's onboarding process is Blink. That's
Blink.
Blink.
Yeah. That's supposed to be your first episode. For those who wondering.
Yeah, it's a gateway. It's a gateway.
Okay.
It was really weird that I started with Satan's Pit. That is not anybody's first episode.
No one have I
Just
ever
me.
heard.
I am the only one who can.
No one have ever heard that was their first episode and they're still.
Yeah. I watched that nonsense and went, huh. I think I want more, but I'm not sure. Took me a year to really decide.
Yeah. I didn't have the same, but yeah, it was fine. We're both still here doing Doctor Who.
I really enjoyed those episodes, but they're very weird to start on. Don't start there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, those are the review of the Satan's Pit. I think is the first ever Patreon content that we made. So if you guys want an episode specifically about Doctor Who's Satan Fit, it's way back in the archives. If you guys support our show on Fourth Wall or Patreon or something. So maybe try that. If you're on a laptop, though, consider rating and reviewing our show on Podchaser or Organ Pods. It helps our show be recognized by Google and other search engines. If you're on your phone, rate, review, comment, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. That's going to prioritize our show and those apps' algorithms. Where most people listen to podcasts, it only takes like 3 clicks. We believe in you. You can do it. Also, we have to shout out one of our financial sponsors, Austin Nancy. You rock. And remember, of course, that we already said this. If you want your own shout out, Patreon or Fourth Wall or something, that's in the description. We're going through some transitions and I don't know what we're using when you listen. Anyway, remember, we are one very important thing for us to remember, that we are all a chosen people, a geekdom of priests. Till next time.
Howdy guys, I really hate to interrupt, but my name's TJ and I'm here to tell you about our new merch. We have incredible new stuff with Fourth Wall. We have just partnered with them as a new store. They have a lot more to offer, which means we have a lot more to offer. We can now offer you beautiful Comfort Colors t-shirts. They're so comfy. I wear mine all the time. And we've got it all now. Cups, hats, backpacks, pajamas. If you want your systematic geekology pajamas, you know where to go. My personal favorite is actually our Throne of Geeks shirt. It is Comfort Colors, blue, black, green, red, orange. And the shirts are just so nice. And the shirt itself, we've got the Throne of Iron geeked out because, that's our brand. We've got Mjolnir on there, the Buster Sword, Trident. Basically just the coolest weapons from our favorite properties are on the shirt instead of a bunch of normal boring swords from the boring series Game of Thrones. So check that out. And thank you.
Hello there, listener. Thanks for listening. This is Evan Garcia. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We just wanted to come in and remind you that this episode is part of a bigger network of podcasts called the Anazal Podcast Network. We have great shows like the Whole Church Podcast, Kung Fu Pizza Party, and the Homily with Pastor Chill Will. Chill Will, the podcast has sermons from our host, Pastor Will. Great sermons every time. The Kung Fu Pizza Party is Brandon Knight showing his expertise and his passion for everything Kung Fu films. And he dispenses a bunch of wisdom. Great show. And the Whole Church Podcast, where Josh and TJ interview people from different denominations and church traditions to pursue greater church unity. It's a great podcast to see what other denominations are included. And we just want to say thank you so much for listening. See you next time.